Shalom Israel. Good evening. We're going to meditate again on the word, right? That we may observe them and keep them, right? So the topic for today is about how to handle or how to handle or prepare for temptation, right? Let's go. It's the book of James chapter 1 and verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, right? Read that again. Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, right? Temptation can be lust, right? The urge to get unjustly mad or anything like to scorn, right? It's easy to satisfy the urge of the flesh when it's very convenient, right? So when you fall into diverse temptations, whether it may be lust or people getting mad at you or hating you, right? James said, what? Count it all joy. Be joyful, right? Be happy, right? Remember, we talked about knowledge, excuse me, strength as knowledge, right? So, in times of adversity or temptations, we have to lift our mind by meditating on the word daily so that we can build that biblical muscle, right? Just knowledge, right? And once you have a strong knowledge about this, right? Also add what? Joy, right? We need to also rejoice in this thing, right? Because people are going to test you, right? People are gonna test you. The Lord, Satan's going to test you, right? From your own lusts, right? However, verse 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience, right? Read that again. Knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. It brings forth even more patience, right? That's how we also become strong, right? We we build this resistance, right? This now it slowly becomes somewhat immune, right? I'm not sure about that, but I want to you know have faith in that, right? Because he that endured to the end shall be saved, right? So you can rejoice in times of temptation, right? Teasing, something like that, right? Let's go to Matthew. Matthew 5 and verse 11. Let's check this out. Start at verse 11. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake, right? This can also be a temptation because it's evil to do evil, right? So Satan can tempt you by bringing you men to revile you, and you must not satisfy the urge or surrender to the temptation of returning false anger back, right? Therefore we can what? Verse 12. Rejoice. That again, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Right? There's going to be scoffers. There's going to be people who will tempt you or annoy you, right? But um, we must have that um, city that has walls or discipline, right? That we may not fall into hatred in our heart, right? Therefore, we can what? Rejoice and be exceeding glad, right? That's why James said, what? Count it all joy when you fall into what? Diverse, diverse temptations, right? To add to this point, right? Wisdom also laughs at proud people, right? Who loves to do, because people who are without God is pride. Proverbs 1 and 26. start at this is the book of Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 20. Wisdom cried without. Read that again. Wisdom cried without. She uttered her voice in the streets, right? She cried in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttered her words. Again, in the city she uttered her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. So a scorner is someone who annoys you, I think, something like that. This is Strong's number H3887. Wait, let's get that. Scorners. To make a mocker, right? A mocker is, let's go there, who ridicules, treats something with contempt, right? Contempt means to look down upon, I think. Let's go. This is the book of, this is Google. Contempt is the feeling of or act of regarding someone as worthless, right? Inferior, to look down upon, right? So that's a marker or a scorner, right? So continuing, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge, right? What is knowledge? Fear of the Lord. Pride is without the Lord. Let's go to Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 10 and verse 12. The beginning of pride is what? When one departed from God. Read that again. The beginning of pride, the beginning of pride is when one departed from God and his heart is turned away from his maker, right? Again. So let's go back. So this is wisdom again. So these are the words of wisdom. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called and ye refuse. Again, and ye refuse, right? Because they are prideful. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. Verse 25, but ye have set at naught all my counsel and would none of my reproof. What did wisdom said, I will also laugh at your calamity, right? Verse, because they were what? Prideful, what, right? Because they what? For that they hated knowledge and did not choose what? The fear of the Lord, right? They what? Did not choose the fear of the Lord, right? Knowledge is the fear of the Lord, right? Proverbs 1 and 7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of what? Knowledge. That again, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, right? So a scorner or a simple-minded, those who love scorning, those love simplicity, right? Those that hate knowledge, right? They are what? Prideful, right? Because they don't choose God or the fear of the God or fear of God. So that's what we are meditating, right? So if someone is proud, yes, you can clash or you can rebuke them, right, or make fun of them, but it must be balanced, right? Let's go to Sirach 7 and 11, I think. Verse 11, laugh no man to scorn in the bitterness of his soul, for there is one which humbleth and exalteth, right? So we must have balance in this thing, right? Let's do our best to deal with scorners, deal with simple-minded person, deal with fools, right? But let us not laugh no man to scorn. Yes, we can rejoice when they persecute or scorn us, right? But we must have what? Balance, right? At the end of the day, all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, the one for this meditation, right? See that meditate therein, right? Shall keep or shall observe the commandments.